What is the point of LGBTQ plus oppression? We know we have faced oppression for many years, but have you ever asked yourself why? Why are queer people oppressed? Why does homophobia exist? In this video, we'll be addressing all of it. Welcome to a crash course on the philosophical reasoning behind the oppression of the queer community. In World War II, the Allies were faced with an unbeatable challenge: Nazi Germany's Enigma, which caused many casualties out on sea. A man, considered a genius for his expertise in mathematics and code breaking, was the turning point in said war. Working in a top secret organization, he broke Enigma. Considered the father of AI upon his creation of a machine he called Christopher, we owe a lot of our victory to that man. We repaid him in kind with chemical castration, a sentencing for homosexuality that would lead to his suicide just 2 short years later. His name was Alan Turing, and his story is one of many. He saved countless lives, but he was forced to lose his own because he committed the crime of loving another man in private. Turing was not the first nor the last to face injustice, and it brings us back to the question of why. It's a matter of control, oppression, conformity, obedience. Society does not like it when people don't fit into their little boxes, so it pushes them back until the box breaks or the body does. It's no secret that the fight for queer equality has been long and tiresome. Even now, with many more freedoms than the community had just 50 years ago, there are still so many roadblocks and locked doors that keep oppression and discrimination very prevalent. It has been shown that queer youth have a 120% higher chance of experiencing homelessness by comparison to other youth groups. And the lack of shelter isn't all, but the heightened risk of assault, violence, and suicide by proxy. Unfortunately, said homelessness is not easily combated either, as employers are already hesitant about hiring youth, let alone queer youth, who are no longer protected against workplace discrimination since President Donald Trump rescinded a nearly 60-year-old executive order that prohibited discrimination in the hiring, firing, promotion, or any pay practices, even going so far as to make the practice of DEI illegal. It goes without saying that being a queer individual has been made unfairly difficult, and this difficulty extends within our healthcare systems. The queer community avoids these systems for the fact that many have experienced discrimination, be it through blatant bigotry or mere ignorance. After all, the phrase gay plague still lingers like one. The truth is that friends, family, strangers, and the general community are not alone in their ignorance. For many years, our government took a similar stance. Many political strides for change were blocked or disregarded, as addressed within Niagara's own Fifth Freedom newsletter. For example, the devastating effects of sodomy laws, with their consequences like those faced by Alan Turing. But the attempted oppression of queer individuals hardly ends there. With that in mind, why has the fight for decency been so long and difficult? Why has the fight to simply live been so impossible? Why should something so innocent be treated with such disdain and condemnation? Why did the United States take so long to join the rest of Western culture in decriminalizing homosexuality? To find these answers, we must first wonder why the questions exist in the first place. Why does queer oppression occur? There is no doubt that society has tried to eradicate homosexuality through many techniques, such as lobotomies, electroshock therapy, even religious affiliated conversion camps and exorcisms. But why? First, we address what much of our society was founded upon, the Bible and religion. But the thing is about the Bible is that homosexuality is no bigger sin than another. For some reason, though, homosexuality is considered the ultimate unforgivable sin, and people wonder why so many members of the queer community are forced to turn their backs on organized religion. But if there is no true basis for discrimination by the word of God, then again we ask why. The answer to that and the questions that came prior boils down to control. To better understand the relationship between religion and control, and therefore the LGBTQ plus community and control, we must first look at the development of modern society, the Enlightenment era. According to thinkers like Thomas Hobbes, religion was required to keep people at peace with one another. Although those intentions were once pure, the point of control still remains. Despite the separation of state and church, the influence of religion on society has not faded. However, its pure intentions definitely have. Now it's a mean to hold people to a certain standard of conformity, and if it is not met, then they're cast out. This is the reality for many members of the queer community. As seen since the 1970s, people are meant to fit into neat little boxes that make society easy and controllable. As a member of the queer community, you do not fit into those boxes by default. In fact, the concept of the LGBTQ plus challenges every conformist ideal and point of view, and that is why the US could not legalize homosexuality until the early 2000s. Oppression takes many forms for many kinds of people, done under the guise of a multitude of motivations, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing and one thing only, and that's control. Why do oppression, discrimination, repression, and hate exist in a society meant to be progressive and modern with an emphasis on freedom? Because everything is a way to gain and maintain control. Either the box breaks or the body does. But how many more bodies must break before the box cracks? The war for equality is bloody and violent, and every success is paved in sacrifice. There's no question about its importance, and we can't stop fighting because, at the end, it's a bigger battle than the LGBTQ. The fight for freedom has never ended, and as a member of the queer community, I can't help but wonder, will we ever really win?